Welcome back to the Datarekha audio guide. I'm Diya.
And I'm Arjun. Today, how a tiny model learns to think like a giant one, and why the secret is in the answers the giant almost gave.
Start me off. We already have quantization for shrinking models. Why isn't that the end of the story?
Because quantization shrinks the weights, not the work. Squeeze a 70 billion parameter model into less memory, and it's still 70 billion multipliers for every single token. On a phone, in a browser, under a tight latency budget, smaller weights isn't enough. You need fewer weights.
And distillation gives you fewer weights, an actually smaller model.
Right. You build a brand new network, fewer layers, fewer parameters, and you train it to copy what the big one does. The big model is the teacher. The small one is the student. And here's the part that surprises people. The cleverness isn't in the shrinking. It's in how the student learns.
Okay, how does it learn? I'd assume you just show it the teacher's answers.
You could, but that throws away the gold. Show a good classifier a photo of a dog. It doesn't just say dog. It says dog 90%, but also wolf 8%, cat about 2%, and car basically 0. The plain ground truth label is only the word dog. Train the student on that one word, and you've discarded everything else.
And the everything else is the interesting bit. The model is quietly telling you a dog is a lot like a wolf and nothing like a car.
That's the whole insight. Those ratios are real knowledge about how the world is shaped. Jeffrey Hinto called it the dark knowledge. It's free supervision the student could never get from the bare word. So distillation trains the student to match the teacher's entire probability distribution. It's soft labels, not just the winning class.
But hang on. You said the teacher is 99% confident. If almost all the weight is on one class, those tiny wolf and cat signals are basically invisible. How does the student see them?
Beautiful question. That's exactly the catch. And it's where temperature comes in. You divide the teacher's raw scores by a number t inside the softmax. At t equals 1, you get the normal spiky distribution. Crank t up, and the distribution flattens. It lifts those tiny probabilities into view. Suddenly, dog is more like a wolf than a car, is loud enough to learn from.
So temperature is a magnifying glass on the quiet part of the answer.
Exactly that. And both teacher and student use the same high t during training. Then at inference, the student drops back to t equals 1 and behaves normally.
What's it actually training against though, just the softened teacher?
Two targets at once? There's the soft loss. Match the teacher's softened distribution, measured by KL divergence, and scaled by t-squared to keep the gradient steady. And there's the hard loss. Plain cross entropy against the real ground truth label. So the student stays anchored even where the teacher is wrong. You blend them, usually weighting the soft term heavily, around 90%, because that's where the rich signal lives.
Now the dog example is a closed set classifier. How does this work for a language model, where the teacher might be something like GPT-4 that you can't even see inside?
Then you can't read its logits, so you flip it around. You have the teacher generate thousands of high-quality answers, and you fine-tune the student on that synthetic text. The soft knowledge is baked right into the words it produces. That's how Stanford's Alpaca was built. 52,000 distilled examples for about $600. And the 2026 twist is even sharper. Have a reasoning model emit its full chain of thought. Then train the student on input reasoning answer triples. The student learns to reason, not just to answer.
That feels dangerous though. If you copy the teacher's reasoning wholesale, don't you copy its mistakes too?
You absolutely do. The student inherits the teacher's blind spots. So the most important step is a judge filter. A model grades the traces and drops the low quality or wrong ones before any training happens. Garbage reasoning in, garbage reasoning out. And there's a legal has to. Many commercial models forbid using their output to train a competitor. So people distill from openly licensed teachers like Llama, Quen, or Gemma to stay clear.
Does it actually deliver, or is this a looks good in theory thing? Give me a number.
Real receipts. Distill BRT is 40% smaller and 60% faster than BERT. and keeps about 97% of its score. The rule to remember: a good distillation holds roughly 95 to 97% of the teacher's quality at a fraction of the size. But only if the student is big enough and the data is good. Push the student too small and quality falls off a cliff. No free lunch, just a very good trade.
So if quantization and distillation both shrink a model, do they compete? Do I pick one?
They don't compete. They compose. And this is the mental model to walk away with. Quantization makes each weight cheaper to store. Distillation makes there be fewer weights to compute. One saves memory and bandwidth. The other saves actual flops. And flops are the only thing that makes a model fundamentally faster. So the strongest small models do both in order: distill first to cut the compute, then quantize to cut the bytes. A 70 billion teacher becomes a 7 billion student. Then a 4-bit version that's 40 times smaller and genuinely faster, not just lighter.
Distill to remove compute, quantize to remove memory. That's the Datarekha audio guide. Catch you in the next one.